Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Ask Mike show. Today, I am joined by the Pondhawks, which is a pop rock indie band based in Chicago. Lots of things to talk about. I can't wait. So, say hi to the listeners and tell us a bit about how you got started.
How you doing, listeners?
Hello, everybody. Yes, we are here in Chicago, and it is starting to get a little bit cooler because as we're approaching
autumn.
winter. Yes, and so, but that doesn't stop us from writing music. We're working on new music right now.
Of course, nothing really good comes out of being quarantined, but we did write a slew of new songs, over the phone. And it was me and Jorie, and happened to be, we did a lot of solo stuff. Unfortunately, we couldn't be with the whole band at the time, but they're cool with it. And it says, I'm going to take over drums or, all the different, but they were cool with it. And they know that things are kind of getting where they can come in with a mask and lay their parts down one at a time now for the rest of the new songs.
Yeah.
And they're not this particular one, Invisible Stranger, that we've been hawking, but is, relevant to the situation that happened. And we wrote it as everything was coming down. Over here in the States, imagine Canary Islands as well. There was a certain time where the governing parties said, okay, from this time on, that's it. Everybody's got to be shut down 5 o'clock Saturday. That's it. And they're shutting down barbershops or this or that. And I go, well, then they're shutting down schools. And then they're shutting down Vegas. And they mess with those guys. And then Disney World and Hollywood. And those got some heavy hitters,
No concerts. You can't, though people are doing it in parking lots now. So, but that's kind of an odd thing too, to do. But it's better than nothing.
They announced no Pondhawk concerts this year. A couple of people were like, all right. But that's besides the point.
I imagine you were kind of surprised that actually they were quite happy that you didn't have any concerts planned. You're like, oh, we kind of wanted you to say that you'd missed us, come on.
Yeah, you know what, though? The funny thing is this, Mike, because of that, a lot of times we'll be in the heat of writing some new or producing new things. The production, it takes a lot of time because it's we produce right here. It's not some $1 billion studio or something like that. It's just a lot of work. So this time we didn't have to shut down production. He was like, okay, it's touring time. Let's go. Everybody shut down. And then, when you're done, now fall kicks around and the outside stuff's over. And, you go in, you take the blanket off the machines, blow the dust off and say, now where were we 6 months ago?
You got to start all over again.
How do you turn this thing on again? No.
You even forget the chords to the songs and stuff because we have a pretty good set list,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so we play a lot of stuff besides our own. Yeah.
I heard a rumor that it was the Beatles that was your inspiration for the genre, I guess, that you decided to plant your flag into. Did they have anything else to do with you getting started as well, like forming the band itself? Like how far do the Beatles play in like your origin story?
Well, quite indirectly, we met at a Beatle Fest. She was selling her pictures. She was taking pictures for Paul and Linda. Actually, she's got a photo on the album. And I thought she was just like some saleswoman, like, but I saw this. I'm like, okay, I saw this one. I was at the Soldier Field, and it was like a beautiful night, and it was a full moon in the rain, and it was in Chicago downtown. It was the last show of the tour, and it was great. And I saw the picture, and I go, oh, and it's Robbie McIntosh and Amos Stewart and Paul, and they're doing the end, and they're all. I go, oh. Brings back such great memories. I'd like to buy. How much is it's $70? She goes, you seem like a nice guy. Give me $35. And I go, all right. And then so $35 you can't pay. I would have bought it for $70 anyway, just so you know. But anyway, so she gets a pencil. She starts writing. She's signing the thing. I thought she's writing the price on it. I go, wait, don't write on that. I just bought that
I'm
thing.
just gonna write all.
She goes, I took the picture. I was like,
I'm the photographer. Yeah, well, I did a book on Paul McCartney called Paul McCartney. I saw him standing there, and I did actually have a photo on Paul McCartney's "Tripping the Live Fantastic" album. So, and I've done a lot. Besides the music thing, I'm also like a rock photographer. So I've taken photos of everybody, the Stones, Paul McCartney, Ringo, and and the Who, everybody.
And I had a buddy of mine who Paul hired to follow him around for 48 hours, just as a lark. I was just like, happened to be in Chicago and wanted him to follow him around for 48 hours. It was back footage for The Space Within Us. And
that was a Paul DVD.
It was Paul DVD.
Yeah.
And he goes, Mara, you will never guess what happened. And I go, so anyway, so I meet Jorie and she goes, well, I take pictures. I go, well, you know what? I invited them both to the rehearsal hall we were at now with my other band, my earlier band. And I wanted to be the fly on the wall and listen to the two of them, wow, cool. See, how the stories mesh up and this and that. She brought a slideshow along, Randy. We had some rare film footage that was supposed to be destroyed. But, and I'm sure it was now, believe me.
Yeah,
anyways, but anyway, so my band comes in and like we had a big gig in like five days. And they go, hey, we're going to rehearse or what? And I go, Jorie, Randy, Reeson, who is the guy. I also did work for Bon Jovi.
And he shot our video for
he drops another name.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
I go, would you two mind if we just went over a few numbers? And they were cordial about it. And so we're going over some. I see Jorie sitting on one of the full back speakers. And, musicians, we always got crap laying around all over, tambourines, maracas, just. And she picks up the tambourine and I see her. She's like, is she keeping good time? I go, she's got good time for a photographer, And I see her, she's singing along.
How does photography even come into it? And just sat there with like a tambourine, just doing a thing in the middle of the room.
It's timing. See, it's timing. Even photography's timing. You got, especially in the day when we were using the analog film, it wasn't not. Now it's not like. Okay, I got 10,000. Let's use number 378. That was the best one. Now it was just like time it. Boom, I missed it. Well, we got to go to the next concert. And when that time comes up, because things are choreography. The choreography is pretty much, the blocking, you throw your head back at a certain time. If you're doing shows every night, you get used to it. But so anyways, so I go, I see you're mouthing along with some of the, because I could say back in those days, we did like a lot more covers than we did originals. And I go, you're a good sport letting us play. I go, come on up and share my mic. So she comes up and shares my mic. All of a sudden, bam, spot on harmonies. The timbre of her voice, and I'm not saying it's good, bad, indifferent, either way, sounded like me. We sound like we could be a brother or sister thing. Like Everly brother and sister. Something I go, there was a ring to it. And the other guy in the band was a beautiful voice. I mean, operatic though. And so there was this mesh. And I says, hey, so afterwards we got a gig. We got this Oktoberfest we're doing. It was October 13th. And I go, it was back in 2006.
Was it a Friday?
Yeah.
2006.
Yeah, 2006.
2006.
Yeah, an outdoor thing, a big festival.
Yeah, it was in a tent, actually, a real windy day. Friday the 13th.
Was it
so that's a lucky day.
Yes.
Lucky day for the Pondhawks.
Yeah, lucky day.
So, so she does this gig, and recently we just saw the video of it, and she was like we've been working together for years. But right there and then, I knew. I says, want to join the band? Yeah. And that was it. Rest is history. And then she had a friend that had a radio station up in Minneapolis. Says, he'd like a little jingle for his. I go, well, let's write something. Let's see what happens. Throw it against the wall, see if it sticks, and it did. And he's been using it ever since.
Oh yeah.
So, but that was the beginning of our writing, and we've written, close to 40 songs that we've actually released.
Mm-hmm.
So you pull this from nothing to a concert in 5 days. Now,
it was remarkable.
It sounds like you had quite a good starting point. You all seem to harmonize. You all seem to get on really well. I mean, we all know Jorie just picked up a set of maracas, and she seemed to have this timing thing going on. But how did you get ready for it within 5 days? Because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, surely there's a lot of work that goes into putting a band together. You don't just throw stuff together and hope that it all fits. So how did you go from that, the fact that you all seem to sound okay and you've all got some elements of timing involved, to being on stage performing a concert in 5 days?
Well, it was just cosmic. It just happened. Sometimes those things just happen. Besides, I had been doing this myself for a couple of decades, you know. Heck, I was 17 when I was out playing. I used to do folk stuff. You know, so I had everything down pat, and the band was pretty good already. But when she went, it went from this to wham.
Yeah.
Technicolor.
I asked him, to give me the set list, and I knew most of the songs anyway. The only songs I didn't know were some of the original ones that they were doing, and I said, well, I'll just learn them. And that was it. I mean, it wasn't a big deal because, I had been in bands in my younger days. So, and then I went into the photography thing. So I kind of missed that. And I thought, well, it'd be cool to be back in a band again. And then Mario came along. So it was.
And ruined everything.
And ruined
right
my
there.
life. Oh, yes.
Ruined everything.
Yeah.
Awesome. So is that the kind of the process that you go through when creating music now, or do you have a set process?
The processes, there's a hodgepodge of different processes. Like this last song, like I said, it happened. Everybody in the world was in shock that day. And we were on the phone. Did you hear what the governor said? Oh no! He says, and they said, 202, million people are gonna, demise from this. And I'm thinking, what if they underestimated her? And I'm like, but anyways, I'm like, this is like living in a twilight zone. You remember the old series,
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's like, she goes, and we can't even see it. It's like this invisible stranger. And I go, that's it. That's the title. She always comes up with these things on accident. I call them Jorieisms. And she, Invisible Stranger. We'll work off Invisible Stranger. And then we put a lot of, when you first start writing, you just purge what's in your heart and mind onto paper. It doesn't have to rhyme. Doesn't even have to have cadence. It doesn't have a dun 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 dun. None of that. Just you purge all your thoughts out on paper.
It's like poetry.
Right.
Yeah,
but
poetry.
You put it in chronological order.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you can massage it into the cadence. And if you need to rhyme or near rhyme, you don't want to overdo. That's what we usually do.
Yeah. But and the thing is, we go through a lot of redrafts.
As everybody does.
Yeah, because you start to come up with a melody, and then you have to sort of massage the lyrics so they fit and everything, or change them. But it's a process, and we've been doing that since 2006.
Going on the 15th year.
Yeah, 15 years.
And if that doesn't work, her agent calls my agent, and they write the song for us. And done.
No, that's when we start. That's when we call on our third. Look, that's when we call on our third songwriting partner, Johnny Walker. And he helps us. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Just kidding.
The Brandon.
Yeah. Johnny Walker.
He's the ghostwriter.
What of all a ghostwriter for music? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Our ghostwriter.
One of the things that I have been quite curious about is how the instruments seem to fit together. So how many instruments do you use for your band? And is it like you start with the sort of the bass line and you add things to it? Or is there a bit more to it in terms of how you find a place for the instruments?
Everything either starts, I'll either play rhythm guitar or piano with the chords, and we'll work out, the vocals together. And I'll do some type of a template. some kind of a metronome along with it. And I'll like either doing this or playing the keyboards, along with that's first. And we do what we call dummy vocals, which don't even have to. The complete vocals they're always the last thing. You say, I wish I would have used this word instead of that word. But you leave it to the end, and then it's good. So we do the dummy vocals along with the chorus, and then usually the next thing is like a kick bass. I'll do the kick bass separately. And sometimes I'll just use it as a template for when the drummer comes in. He'll say, "Oh, okay, this is what I want," and then bass. I'll throw some bass on, and then things mesh on. And Jorie's like, then we, say, "I want to put this. Oh, try this, try that, try this," and it's got to go through past both of us. And that's, I think, it's kind of like a sieve. It's got to go past to be finished. Otherwise, you kind of tend to really like your own stuff. It's the ugly baby syndrome. Okay, it's like this. Nobody ever thinks their baby's ugly, right? And our songs are like our babies. Like, isn't it a beautiful baby? Oh, it's man, that's an ugly baby. Oh, that's could be like that with songs. So like, well, what do you think, Jorie? I don't think we could do better. What do you think, Mar? I don't think we could do better. And we trust each other enough. Right, yeah. We know we would never do anything to hurt each other's feelings. Would never. Everything's for the best. For the best. And the songs are like, it's going to be our footprint in the sand. So we want to make sure that's a good footprint, not an ugly footprint.
Yeah.
Not to say a couple of ugly ones didn't sneak through the rungs on a couple of albums here, but.
Yeah, but sometimes
things happen.
Remember when we had to change the key?
Oh yeah,
oh, yeah. We were like, we had songs that we like finished, and and it was kind of because I'm singing the higher part, and Mario he's singing the lead, and it was kind of a strain because in that pitch and everything. So we got it done. We were listening to it, and then we both came up with the same thing. I think we
were driving down the expressway at the time. Yeah. We're listening to the demo. And we're going downtown, and all of a sudden, we both kind of like, I don't like this key.
Yeah.
It was an A minor. Let's do it the G minor. I was going to say anything. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I went, okay, let's do it.
Back. We redid it. Yeah.
Totally did it different.
It was much better.
And it was different because, see, when you play an instrument, Mike?
I don't play an instrument, no.
Okay, well, I say guitar. Sometimes, especially the rhythm, you'll use a capo and you'll use different structure of the chord. And since we capoed it up 5 and played it in a totally different key, and it came out to G minor, and it was really good, and it worked out. It's like, really, thank you. Yeah. It wasn't so tough going over it the second time because it's like getting a second crack at it.
Yeah, it was easier to sing.
Definitely had a lot of experiments when it comes to your music and trying to find out what works. And it seems like because of the trust that you have, you can really push the boundaries in terms of, you mentioned like you might like it, but I don't. Has there been any moments when there's been a big change and you've had to really not argue, but have like discussions about it because maybe you really want it to be this way, but you want it to be very different from what it actually is at that moment. So something happens and you go, it should probably be over here, but then Jorie's like, no. This is the way that I want it to be.
Yeah, that happens. And in a case like that, we'll record it both ways. We'll record 2 different versions. We got our own studio, so it doesn't cost anything.
No. Cool.
I remember one time somebody in a band, we were doing, I think it was Midnight Howl, and gotta have saxophone in there. I'm like, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
The saxophone.
And then the tuba solo.
The tuba solo.
Don't forget the tuba.
No, I'm just kidding. No tuba. I was like, so we like, okay, play it. And he's like, for days. I'm like, I can't stand it.
So this is not working.
But we tried.
We tried. We took it out.
Saxophone.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm gonna be late for math class. Oh wait.
So, yeah.
So what was the outcome of that then? Who won? Who won that argument in the end?
Oh, that one. Oh, we did because we were producing it.
Yeah, right. We did it.
But I mean, sometimes when there, there's several songs like between with both of us. Sometimes we'll do an acoustic version of it too. It's like, we'll keep this. Maybe we'll let it out as an acoustic version of it later on. We're working on there was a song we did a while back, was Weather Girl, for an example. And the way we play Weather Girl when we do a live concert is totally different. It's got to be, it's got a little bit more drive to it, a little guitar. So we've been working on a different version of that. We'll probably release that on the next compilation.
Yeah, well, Weather Girl, the complications of that was that in that song, it goes backwards. Everything reverses. Right. And it's really hard to do that. I mean, we're not very technical as far as like these bands where they have keyboards that have sequences in there, and they just
for live. We're not technical.
Yeah,
in the studio, okay. Live, we don't do sequencing live. We don't believe in it. Right now,
we want to do.
A lot of bands do that, and half of the tracks are in the keyboard and off to it. You see, whenever you go to a concert, you see a little one or two Mac Pros or whatever, and they're running half of the stuff. Sometimes, and it's a shame, even the vocals. If I want to do that, I'll stay home and listen to it.
Yeah, just play the record. It's like karaoke.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather hear a blown note or a blown solo or the wrong chord.
Like
if it's live. It's like, instead of going to the amusement park, I'll watch a picture of somebody going to the amusement park. Oh, that was perfect.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's the thing. A lot of these bands do that, and people go to the concerts. They say, "Wow, they sounded just like their recordings," and I'm thinking, because
it is their recordings.
That's real.
Unfortunately,
until they have a faux pas and the sequencing doesn't match up, and then they're whoops, we've been caught.
And we've been to concerts and seen that
we've
before
seen
too.
that with famous people, when things went bad, but that's it.
So then I don't mind if you don't sound that great, as long as it's actually you singing live.
Yeah, that's what we dig.
Well, we harmonize.
If we really like, go ahead.
Our harmonies and stuff like that.
But even if we blow the harmonies on something, that's part of it. I've seen the concerts where
that's usually when there's sound
it's
problems.
Fun, but it's fun stuff. Part of life,
When you're not famous, you don't have like that crew that does your sound system so well that you can actually hear each other when you're singing. Like where we go, unfortunately, we don't get that type of sound for us, and we wind up. I could be standing next to Mario, and I can't hear him, because of the sound, the speakers and stuff.
But if we're in a huge show, we'll use earbuds, so that helps out a lot.
Oh yeah, of course. So that allows you to hear each other while you're singing, so that you can use each other to make sure your timing's right or your key's right or all those other technical things.
I tend to only like to use one earbud myself, just in case something goes south, man. I want to be able to hear the monitors, as good or bad as they may be.
Yeah.
And make sure there's a beverage nearby, just in case.
Yeah, right.
Have that drink handy. You just need it. Health and safety. You need to have that handy.
You get bit by a snake on stage, you got to have whiskey nearby, just in case.
For the snake bite or for you to numb the pain?
Both.
Yeah.
Don't want to numb it too much on stage.
Then you can start to go downhill very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we've been playing for, I think it was the last 6 years, a show where there's 8,000 people. It's an outdoor show. And
it's nice. And they always do a fireworks show afterwards.
Yeah. And the thing is, one year it was so hot. It was like 100.
How hot was it?
It
was so hot.
It was so hot.
How hot? It was so hot.
It was like 103 degrees. Okay. And, we get there 3:30 set up, and there's people showing up. And this is outside. There's no shade. They're just outside in this field. And, we have the stage.
Yeah, they have 2 soccer fields. And then behind us is the football field, the American football field.
Yeah.
That's where they would shoot the pyrotechnics up. And and a couple baseball fields. There's this huge school, system.
And all these people are showing up.
It was sweltering, and she was loopy. She was passing out during the sound check.
It was like really bad. Yeah.
One of our fans ran home. He said, "I don't live too far from here." I brought her a bar stool from their basement bar.
Yeah, because
that was really cool.
We had fans on the stage, but it was kind of like when we did Lincolnshire. Remember?
Oh, that was hot.
Lincoln.
It was so hot.
Was really bad.
It was so hot. I saw a dog chasing a cat, and they were both walking. It was
so hot. Yeah. Well, and I remember we were on this.
I had to get that one in. I've been sorry.
Yeah, we had the Lincolnshire one where we were like on the stage, okay, and another day that's really bad, like over 100 degrees. And of course, the stage is set up so the sun is right on us, and it's like.
Oh, tell them about the cooking show.
And they had somebody on before, because they were doing all kinds of different things, and they had somebody that was doing a cooking thing
with demonstration
with a stove. Okay, so when we get on the stage, it's really hot,
and it was aluminum stage. Oh my god! And he's done, and he's got these giant fish salmon fillets. He goes, "Hey, you guys want some salmon before you go on?" I look, and I'm like, you got to blow the flies off of that thing first. It was bad. It was so hot. It was outdoors, and every fly in the world was on. I go, no thanks.
But
we're veggie today.
So the stage was kind of like it was tented, so it was really hot, and there still were people there, but it was like okay, and then you were up singing for about 20 minutes, and then you said, it was bad. And then after that, when we were finally done with that concert.
Yeah, I think I was up there for 2 hours straight. Our drummer was ready to pass.
He almost went to the emergency room. Yeah.
That was bad. But anything that doesn't kill you makes you strong.
One of the things that I guess I'm very interested in is what goes around the performance from your perspective. Now, from like the sporting industry or sporting world, you've got athletes that do like sort of pre-performance routines, right? Like people have got they have to do a certain walk from where they get changed to where they're performing. They've got like a self-talk they tell themselves. Some people do a whole focus on what the task is and visualizing the task before they do it, and all that sort of mental things they go through so they can do what it is that they do. And for them, it makes all the difference when it comes to the extra 1% or less than 1%. That's the difference between beating the other guy or girl, right? Is that the same for the music industry as well? Do you have like a routine that you go through? Do you have to picture yourself on the stage? How do you mentally prepare for that sort of thing?
That's a great question. And there's certain warm-up songs we do that kind of get us charged up a bit. And one of the things we do is we get together with the band, backstage, or if it's an outdoor arena down behind the stands, and we tell jokes and we laugh our heads off, and the laughter's good. It's a good thing. It's good karma. We just laugh and laugh and laugh, and then that's good for you. It's going to get you up and rolling. Then we cool down, and then you get that moment of zen and says, let's go do it. And then we do it.
And it's as easy as that. So you tell jokes, you have a laugh, you get along, and then you go on stage and do your thing.
Right. That's the mesh. Is where the camaraderie comes in. Like, because in a band, it's like that with a sports team. You're always going to get, I don't know, the midfielder is not getting along with the goalie today or something like that. But if they said, I'll tell a few jokes like, forget about it. I know I was upset about that thing the other night. Don't worry about it. Everybody has a laugh, all on the same page. Let's go do it. You're all off into the sunset together. That's it.
So do you do anything to sort of prepare your voices as well? I know you mentioned warm-up songs, but people have like concoctions maybe, or like a certain ritual they go through with their voice to check their ranges that day, or whatever the case is. Do you guys do any of that?
Well, yeah, that's why certain songs we do in the sound check, just to making sure I'm hitting that, and it's got to be a song with certain high notes that you got the confidence of doing, anyways. So, well, and then when the show comes, I said, "Oh, I nailed it in the sound check," and then you don't have that setback because like any hesitation, no matter what you're doing, whether it's music or whatever, sports, whatever. If you're like, I missed the net last time, or I did this, like, I better not try the scissor kick this. Well, now, but if you make it, and you keep remembering, I made that great scissor kick last time, and that was great. Then you're going to do it. You said, I nailed it in sound check, or I nailed it last game, or whatever. And you remember that in your head, and that's it. And then you let that take over.
And the other thing is, like, when you get the response from the audience, that gives you more energy and more fuel, because the last Leiden show where they were all dancing,
really
and they were yelling our songs out, and it was really good. It was like, wow, look at them, they're all like up there dancing, and then we had them put their phone lights on when it got dark.
That was fun,
and you could see all the way back with all the lights.
8,000 people. Yeah. I mean, like, everybody get their phone in. And then you could, it was great. And our drummer, Sammy Svita,
our drummer,
and then we got our percussion guy, percussion cage, Danny Cavazos, but Sammy Svita takes this picture, and great from the drummer's perspective. You see me and Jorie and Tony Melnick, our bass player for live shows, and you just see all these. Because back in the old days, it was with the Zippos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must feel amazing to have that, though. The amount of times that I've seen it when I've been watching it on like TV or something, and it's like just to picture myself as the performer and seeing all those phones must be amazing.
Yeah, it was because
seeing the phone bill was even worse.
It was cool because when you're on the stage, you've got like all the spotlights and everything on you, so you really can't see out in the darkness. You can't see because it's not lit up.
Past about 50, 100 feet out.
Yeah,
because
it's dark. So when they put those phones up, then we could see how far back the audience went because we couldn't see it from up there.
That's a good point. There are people that say the same thing as well. Like people that have been on stage, they go, past the first 3 rows, they don't really see that much more than that. That's pretty interesting then, because when you picture like people that maybe have a fear of public speaking, and they fear doing the whole performer thing, and they thousands of people are watching and I can't like get over the fear of it. And then past the first 3 rows, you can't really see a thing anyway. They all just sort of go into the dark somewhere. That must take some of the pressure off when you think about, when you did like the first time you did it and it was very nerve-wracking or however that felt. Must have took a bit of pressure off when you realize that you can't really see at least half of the audience.
That was a good question. A good point. With me, it's just the opposite. It was like, oh no, only 3 rows showed up.
yeah, we get revved up. The more people that are there, the more revved up we get. That's
I think most people get more revved up the more people. Yeah, you wouldn't be in the biz anyway.
Yeah, because we want to see their faces. We like the
sometimes you get the folk singers or something. There'll be smaller crowds, and the big crowds might freak them out a little bit. Like I said, just to be a folk singer back in the day. So.
The more the better. Come to our show. We're happy.
Yeah, of course. Well, what advice would you give to people that wanted to get into starting a band or trying to create music? Have you got like a top 3 tips for people that want to follow in your footsteps?
Well, first and foremost, when you're writing a song and you're getting, number 1, never, ever mix beer and wine. That's number 1. You want to take number 2?
No.
Number 2.
What's number 2?
Number two, no, all kidding aside, write from your heart. Write from your heart, because 99.99999%, you're not going to be famous. It doesn't matter. Do it because it's in your heart. Do it if you're reaching one soul out there. I don't even think there's any secondary rules of writing, because everybody writes with a different criteria. Everybody sometimes I'll wake up and say, oh, I dreamed this great song, or and it turned out to be not so great. Or sometimes you forget them. So I get up in the middle of the night now with the cell phones. Hey, another thing with cell phones is when we're writing, we're talking about, we're not doing this, this stage of the game. We're not out to set the world on fire. If we touch one soul, and today there are places on Earth that, don't even have running water, but everybody's got a cell phone, correct? And if you got a cell phone, you've got the internet. And if you've got the internet, you've got access to our music. People will write us from places we've sometimes never heard of, and they'll use the translator, the translator on the message, either it's Google Translator or whatever, and they'll say, "Oh, your song made me happy. Your song made me think about somebody that wasn't there any longer," or "Thank you for writing a song." And then you're communicating. You've touched a soul, and you'll never speak the same language. You'll never meet, but you touch that soul. So you have met in a way, and that's what the most important thing that we're up to now, because that's what it's all about.
Jorie, have you got anything to add to that?
Well, I think when we were starting to write songs together, and we really didn't know what we were doing, because we had bought some recorders.
When we were recording the songs, yeah.
Yeah, so we were just we'd ask people how do you do this, and they're like, I don't know. So we had to really struggle with the first album, and when we finally got it done, the idea, people said, you want to make money on it or whatever, and we said no. We said we're not into it for the money part. We're into it because we want people to listen to our music, and to some way our songs would mean something to them, So, and I said, it isn't about the money. It's about writing the song and having people just see something in that song that makes it special for them, So I said, if one person buys our song, or somebody just likes our song, I said, as long as it doesn't have to be a quantity of people, of millions of people. It's just, it could be one person, it could be two persons. It's just somebody who gets it, what we wrote. So that's what it is for me. And we'll write the songs if nobody listens to us. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you've got your favorite songs that maybe even not even a favorite song, but maybe a line in the song of something that comes on radio, and it reminds you of something, or puts your mind at ease, or reminds you of somebody, and that one little bit made your day, changed it.
That can definitely happen. There are songs that take me back to when I was younger. There are songs that help me sleep or relax or get me energized or fire me up for the day if I need that. So there are definitely songs that will do that. How can people learn more about you? So this is your chance to share websites or the song that I know that you've been wanting to get out there. So here's your chance for people to find out more about you.
If you want to find our website, it's www.pondhawks.com. So if you go on Facebook, it's facebook.com/thepondhawks.
All right, awesome. Well, those of you that haven't checked them out already, make sure you do, because their music's pretty good. Very, very Beatles-esque, if you will. So yeah, make sure you do that if you haven't already, and subscribe to the show so you don't miss any of our future guests. And I look forward to speaking to you all again on the next episode. Jorie and Mario, thanks for coming on, and I look forward to keeping in touch.
Well, thank you for having us, Michael.
Yes,
appreciate it.
Thank you. Ta.